Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. In today's 101.5 lesson, I am going back and reviewing how to use the Border Maker system. The Creative Memories Border Maker system is one of my favorite tools that we have for helping to create fast, fun, beautiful pages. And there's so many different ways to use it. And in this episode of, we're going to review all of the standard things that you need to know to use it. But I'm also going to show you some examples of combining cartridges. So I hope that will help those of you who already know how to use it, just to give you some new ideas of different ways that you can use it. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. All right, so here's my workspace for today. I'm just going to do a quick tutorial on how to get the most out of your CM Border Maker system. That's what this is. So it consists of two pieces that you'll use every time you use the Border Maker system. This one holds your paper, this one holds your punch. And these are some examples of cartridges that you can use in the Border Maker system. So we commonly refer to these as a BMC, a Border Maker cartridge. Okay, and so, or this is called the Border Maker system, the BMS, the Border Maker system. Okay, so today I'm just going to show you how it works, and I'm going to show you some fun things that you can do. So I've got just some scrap paper out here. This is cardstock, regular white CM cardstock. Okay, and when you use this system, you do want to be careful that you're not using paper that is too heavy. So I have tried it a few times using glitter paper. Some glitter papers are really, really thick and very difficult to use this system with, depending on how complicated the punch is that you're trying to punch. So you want to just be careful, and if it's something you've not used before, then you want to be cognizant that, the first time you punch through, it might be different than what you're used to. Typically, we will punch using designer paper or the CM weight cardstock, which is usually between 65 and 80 pound paper. So anything thicker than that or heavier than that is really better used with a different punch. Okay, so the way that this works is you have a guide on the back, and the guide is locked into place. It has like its own little house back here. Okay, so you pop that out, and then you pop it into place, and it will stay there. And once it's there, you have a couple of great things to help you here. You have a little lip along the edge here that shows you when you put your paper in, you push your paper all the way to the edge of that lip, and then it is in the right place to be punched appropriately by one of these cartridges. All right. The other thing is you have a ruler along the arm here that will help guide you, and you have notches every 2 inches as you go up the holder. Okay. You also have a grid on your guide out here, which can be helpful in a more advanced situation. There are times when you might want to just put your paper in halfway, or maybe you want to put your paper 3/4 of the way up, or something like that. So these can be really helpful guides for that. Now, the basic use of this is really pretty easy. You've got a magnet that goes the full length of your 12 by 12 or of your 12-inch piece. You always want to use a piece of paper that is at least 3 inches. This one is 3.5 inches. If you're going to use a piece of cardstock or designer paper that is less than that, less than 3 inches,
then you will want to use a cheater method, which I will show you in just a little bit, okay? So, but for your ease, if you are just learning this, you want to make sure you have at least a 3-inch piece of paper. Now, once you have this loaded, and I just loaded it really quickly without explaining what I was doing, but the arm is up, you slide your paper in all the way to the edge of the guide right here. Then you fold the magnet arm down, the blue arm, and you'll notice that things with CM that are meant to move have blue plastic. So the blue arm here is meant to move. This whole housing is going to be moving as you are punching. So that's why there's so much blue on this, even though it may be a little counterintuitive to what I just said. Okay, so once you have your paper loaded here, you're going to take the arm and you're going to fold it back and lock it into place. It'll give you a little pop sound when it's in the right spot, okay? Then you're going to take your housing with a cartridge in it, and let's see. Let's go ahead and we'll use this. This is the Wispy Chain. The Wispy Chain makes a really nice sort of swirl pattern, and it's a chain punch, which means it separates completely from our piece of paper, okay? So we're going to place that in with the prongs out. The smooth side goes in, push it in, and wait for the pop. When you hear that pop sound, you know it's in the right place, and you can hold it upside down. It's not going to fall out, okay? Speaking of that, this button right here is what releases your punch. So if you push that button in, then your punch falls out. Okay, so try not to hit that button unless you are trying to release your punch. So now my punch is locked and loaded, and I'm going to take these two prongs and I'm going to help them find these notches on the back. You can see better this way. You have a big notch and a smaller notch, and those correspond perfectly to the big notch and the smaller notch on the back of your punch, or on the edge of your punch. Okay, now the problem, if it's a problem, it's not really a problem, but it can be if you don't know this key thing. Okay, if you have your paper loaded, you can't see these notches. So CM did a really cool thing, and they added a notch on the arm right here, which is really hard for you to see, but there, that's a little bit better. Can you see how there's a notch roughly every 2 inches coming down the arm? Okay, that notch is meant to line up with this notch right here, and that is going to be harder for you to see. Let me refocus this, see if it helps. See how there's a little notch right here on the front? If you line that little notch, and it is raised so you can feel it with your finger and you can see it even though it's not a different color, okay? That notch is meant to be lined up with this notch. Let's refocus. Okay, so we line up that notch with each of these notches as we go. And this is a punch and slide technique. You've probably heard me say punch and slide, right? So we're going to line it up and punch. All right, then we're going to move it down to the next one. You can feel it when it's in the right place, because I can try to adjust this and slide it up or down and it won't go, because those teeth are in those notches. Okay, so each time you find and make these meet and have those teeth inside the notches, that's when you punch. And you just work your way up or down or across, however it's most comfortable for you. This is the most comfortable way for me, to go forward or go backwards. And then you have a beautiful border of varying patterns, okay? So that is my favorite thing about the Border Maker system. It's that the price point for each of these, you never have to replace this. This should last you for as long as you want to punch, all right? But these are the things that you will want more of, so that you have a variation in design. And these are a great price point. I think currently they sit at 20 or 21. And that's with the most recent price increase. For many, many years, many years, they were $19.50. So a really, really inexpensive way of getting a variety of punches. And let me show you what you can do with them, okay? So I have been playing with mine a little bit. And all right, see how this paper kind of goes halfway down that magnet? It'll still hold with that little bit, but we are going to need to show you that magic trick in just a minute. All right, but the thing I wanted to show you is that I've been playing with my punches. So because this allows you to punch 2 inches at a time, you can do some really fun things with it. You can choose where you want to punch. And when you choose where you want to punch, you can customize your border and use more than one cartridge. So it can be really fun to go in and decide, okay, I think I want to put these two together. Let's see what that looks like, you know, and you try it out and see if you like it. If you don't like it, then, you know, try something else. But it's so it's best to try it on a scratch piece of paper, like a scrap. But you can definitely get some really fun combinations. Now this is the Wispy Chain. Okay, so the Wispy Chain punch, and I have to look. This is the Double Fan. Okay, so the Wispy Chain and the Double Fan make this one right here. And I'm going to do a few for you just so you can see some of the variations that we have found. But I have actually reached the point where I have to use this little trick in order to make this strip work. Okay, this strip is, you can see from measuring it on my graph, it's almost 1.5 inches, but not quite. If it's at least 1 inch wide, you can punch it, because most Boilermaker cartridges are 1 inch wide. Rarely will you see one that is any variation of that. Typically they are 1 inch. Now, so we're going to use these 3-inch Post-it notes. I'm only using 2. You can use as many as you feel like you need. And basically what that's going to do is it's going to extend our paper. So I'm going to fold my guide out, put my paper in, and push it all the way to the edge of the guide, just like we normally would. Now you can see my paper is too short, but the Post-it notes are not. And so the Post-it notes are going to be held by the magnet underneath that arm and allow me to extend that piece of paper and get use out of this piece that is almost 1 inch wide by 12. Okay, so let's do another one and combine something else. Let's do this one. I think this one surprised the heck out of me more than any of the other ones that I tried. These are the princess crowns, what I call the princess crowns. I don't think that's what CM called them, but that's what I call them. And when you're varying these, you just go every other one. And so you punch 3 of one kind, and then you come back and you punch 3 of another. So this one is the Tiara Chain. And then we're going to come back in here with the Poinsettia Punch, which is an edge punch. So you can see that the Tiara Chain Punch, in its name, you know it's a chain. That means it's separating itself from the anchored piece of paper, right? But if you combine a chain punch with an edge punch, then you end up with something really cool that stays connected to the edge of your paper, if that's what you want. You may not want that, but if that's what you want, it is a cool feature. Okay, so you finish punching and release it, and then remove your Post-it notes. And you can trim this off, or you can leave it attached to your base page. Whatever you want to do. Or you can trim it off maybe a couple inches down and make it a really cute frame for a photo or something like that. So this one, just so that we can kind of keep track over here on the side, I want to make sure that it's still visible for you. This one is the Tiara Chain and the Poinsettia Edge Punch. Now, we do have Border Maker cartridges generally are either a chain or an edge, but they're not exclusively chains or edges. And what I mean by that is sometimes you have one that we call a knockout punch. And a knockout punch is one that will have something that can be used somewhere else that it punches out. So an easy one to cite is the one that had bats. It would punch out the bats, and then you could have an edge that had a bunch of punched out bats, and then you could use those bats elsewhere on your layout, which was super fun. Okay, let's do a couple more. This one has a knockout, so I will show you a little bit. It has kind of a knockout, not a true one, but close. And this is a retired punch, so unless you have this one in your stash already, you probably won't be able to find it unless you're just really, really lucky. But this one is called the Dotted Diamonds. Okay, Dotted Diamonds, and then we're going to use the Cupcake. Now, the Cupcake until very recently was still available, but I noticed as I went on the website just the other day to check that all the cupcake cartridges were gone. So if you don't have this one already, you won't be able to get it. But doesn't that make a cute border? So if you have those cupcakes in your stash, you can use them with this Dotted Diamonds border, and it makes such a cute, cute border. And then you have your ice cream or your frosting, but it could be used as ice cream, and you have a little cup that you can add your ice cream to, which is kind of the definition, that's my definition of a knockout punch. Something that you can continue to use the pieces of after you have punched it. Okay, so I'm just going to leave these right here just to remind us that this is a knockout. So you have a chain that separates completely, you have an edge that stays connected, and then you have a knockout punch that will punch something out for you. All right, let's do a couple more of these just to show you some of the potential that I found that I was super surprised about. This one is also cool. All right, let's see. We will put the cupcakes over here. So this is the linear plaid punch. This came out at Christmas time. And most of these, except for those two that I just used, the cupcake and the Dotted Diamonds, most of these are still available on our website. So if you don't have these already, you might want to go over there and get them. But so this is the linear plaid, and it punches a really unique straight line pattern, and you can do a lot of cool things with this. But today I am going to use that, and I'm going to combine it with this Ancient Key chain, the Ancient Key chain. They call it a chain punch. It's not a chain punch. So I think that was one that was mistitled, and I went ahead and wrote it on here. I don't know why, but anyway, the Ancient Key Edge Punch. We're combining these two, and watch the magic. This is just the coolest thing. I just think it looks so neat together with this to make a very unique border. Can't you just see using that on something really sophisticated? I think it would just be really, really cool. All right, so when you do one of these, you want to make sure that that outer edge is nice and smooth. Mine is not, so I'll need to trim that. Let me just show you really quick how that would work. So you just put it in your trimmer and straighten that edge up. It'd be best if the edge is straight to begin with, then you don't have to worry about straightening it, right? And then we're going to move this over so that we have we want at least 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to put the other edge of the of this one, the key. That's going to go, that edge is going to go on the right hand dotted line on my mat strip, because that is 1/8 of an inch. And I can see my paper on this side and see if it's crooked just by looking at how it's falling on the grid. And then we just trim it off and we are in business, as they say, right? Isn't that pretty? I just think it looks so nice. All right, let's do, Emily's teasing me over here. It's so nice. Okay, so there's that one. Let's do a couple more really quick, and then I will let you go to play with your punches and see what you can create. It's worth taking a few minutes and just exploring with your scraps, because you'll be really surprised at what you find. Okay, here's another couple that I never would have put together in ever. So this is the Tire Tracks punch. All right, so you can see it's kind of a involved design. It punches out quite a few different little pieces, right? So we're just going to go every other one just like we did before. Okay, so like so. Lots of little pieces like I mentioned. Okay, Tire Tracks. And then we're going to use this one, the Centric Circles. I think that's what it was called. Cyclic Circles. Cyclic Circles. This one came out with Noteworthy Days at the very beginning of the year. And watch this one. This one is just cool. If you are doing a lot of motorsports types of things, doesn't that look cool? I think it looks like wheels in the middle of the tires. And so just really cool. And this actually could be termed a knockout as well, because look at that perfect circle. A really cool thing to save and then use those on another piece. Okay, so there's one, and let's do, I'm gonna do one more. Let's see. Sorry, this one's not going to be sampled because it's attached, and I'm not going to take a moment and get that off. But I also did, let me find the sample of this one just so I can show you. Okay, I did the Sunglasses punch, this one. Okay, the Sunglasses punch right here. And I combined it with this one, which is the Brocade Chain punch. They're both chain punches, so they both separate from a page. But doesn't that look cute? I think it looks really cute. And definitely not something, again, that I would have thought to put together, but I think it turned out really, really cute. Let's do one more, and this is going to use the zebra stripe cartridge. Hang on. There we go. So we're going to punch the zebra stripe cartridge. And this one gives you all these really squiggly punch outs, which you may have seen people make lions or things that have lots of hair and manes and things like that with these little squiggly pieces. They make great fringe on stuff. So really a fun thing to keep around. And then we're going to use this one, which I think is really undervalued, but this one is the Notebook Edge. Okay, can you see that? I don't know if you can see that, but it's going to give you that same look of a torn edge of notebook paper. And I put this one together with this just for fun, just to see what it might look like. It's kind of different, but I think different in a cool way. So you let me know what you think about it. I think it's cool. I would definitely come back in with your scissors. You can use your precision point scissors, or you can use just regular scissors, and go ahead and trim out these little bits that end up staying connected. And then you've got that cool edge that we can trim off. Okay, so that's the zebra stripe and the notebook edge, and that makes this pattern right here. So super fun. Let me know if you have enjoyed this. If you would like, I can come back and do another one in the future and use some of our more up-to-date punches that we will have by then, and maybe even a few more of our retired ones. I also used this one, the buttons with the circle chain punch. So if you have those in your stash, those work really nicely together. They look super cute. Here's that sample for you. And the reason they look super cute, in my opinion, is because they are the same size, or darn close to the same size. So you can see that where they come together is almost exactly the same. Okay? And so when you're putting two punches together, that's what I look for. I look for something that's going to have a similar size to it where they are going to connect. This one I did have to trim just a little bit, just so that you are aware, to make the design look more fluid. I did trim this one just a little with my precision scissors. But so you're looking for something that's going to have a similar width and a similar size to where they connect on the edge. All right, and then go to town. I'm curious to know what you put together, and I would love it if you would comment and tell everybody what you have put together and think looks nice, because that will encourage all of us to go and try new things. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope this has been helpful. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.